Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Virginia Lowman here with the New York Daily News. And today in the studio we have Marissa Hermer.
Hi.
From Bravo's hit show, Ladies of London. Marissa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're so excited. I have to ask you about this season, about absolutely everything. I follow you on Instagram, so I've got lots of questions.
Okay.
Firstly, I know you're from Southern California, sunny California. We were just talking before we started how rainy and cold and terrible it is in New York right now, so a little envious of your upbringing. But I do have to ask, I know I've read your website and it talks about how you grew up picking avocados in your grandmother's farm, or not farm, but sort of
her
the backyard.
Her house, yeah.
But now you live in London and it's sort of a completely different meal lifestyle in terms of going from very green to sort of hearty meals. Have you always been a foodie, or?
Do you know, I've always liked family time, actually. Right. And so for me, that is part of family time and part of community.
For sure.
So part of that is I love sitting down to a meal with my friends and family. Mm-hmm. So I love being with my friends and family, and sort of as part of that,
it happens.
I like the food. Yes. And it happens in my kitchen.
Yeah.
So sort of I fell in love with food in that way. I'm an eater. You know, some people aren't big eaters. I'm I want it, and I want it all. You know, when you get the email
I want
of
to indulge.
What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you eat? I'm like,
everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
There's no problem. Just a lot of it. So,
sure.
It's I've had a sort of a foodie adventure in my life. I grew up in Southern California. I lived here in New York for a while. Was in London, and we actually just are back in LA now.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm getting a lot of good avocados now again, which is
also jealous.
Really nice.
So jealous. I love avocados. I literally eat them every single day. And the market down the street from my house sometimes is not offering the best avocados. So I am envious.
I know what that was like. I had that in London. They were not good. Now it's
avocado overload.
It's different. They're so much better, and I'm avocado over. I mean, at least once a day.
Yeah. No, you have to. Literally avocado toast every AM, or fresh avocado with a little bit of sea salt and some red peppers. Seriously, I'm having dreams right now. Talk to me about that transition from LA to London in terms of your food aesthetic. How did you sort of marry the two?
Yeah, do you know what? When I first moved to London, my dad said to me, he's like, British food has had this bad reputation, and maybe it was a while ago because I don't know where this reputation came from, because when I moved to London, the food is excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I married a restaurateur and quite a foodie, so
it does put you on the upper hand there.
He knows where to go. He knows the good places. But when I moved to London, my dad said, darling, he didn't say darling, he said daughter. British. I'm like, where's the British come in American?
Kind of love that.
He's like, Marissa, if I wanted my peas mushy, I would chew them myself. Right. And he's referencing a favorite British dish, which I actually have a recipe for in my cookbook, which is mushy peas.
Right.
Now, Brits have this dish called mushy peas, which sounds disgusting.
Right. It doesn't sound great.
It's like soggy
but that
peas.
Doesn't mean it doesn't taste great.
It is delicious. And it's an integral part of any sort of Sunday roast, fish and chips.
Right.
It's delicious. I like mixing it up with some feta cheese and some mint, and it's so good. It's so easy.
Anything with feta, right?
Yeah, even Sadie, it's good. It's like a puree type of thing.
She's not worrying about the baby food. She's
delicious.
Let me get the fresh
She's
stuff, Mom.
I want the mushy. Anyway, it's all good.
That.
So you find a balance. A lot of the British food that I had was delicious. Mm-hmm. You know, my husband started a chain of restaurants called Bumpkin, which focuses on British comfort, cozy food. And when I was writing my cookbook too, I wanted to marry the British comfort, cozy food that my husband likes. Ultimately, he's a meat and potatoes man.
Right.
But I grew up on avocados. I grew up with
Very
Southern
green.
California fresh flavors. So I started marrying the two foods together, cuisines, and thus was born my cookbook. But also, it's what I've been feeding my family on for years.
Yeah.
And,
has that sort of been a dream for you? Did you think that your life would come to this? You would be making cookbooks? And
no. I just didn't. Well, I say I'm not a cook. My agent would be like,
but you
yes,
are.
you are.
Yeah, actually.
She's like,
judging by your feet and everything.
You have a cookbook.
Absolutely.
I was never a trained chef, nor do I don't think of myself as a cook. I think of myself as a mom who cooks for her family.
Feeds for her family, yeah.
And, I open up the refrigerator and I'm like, what are we going to, what magic are we going to make in a couple of minutes? Do you know what I mean? How's this going to work? Or I go to farmer's market and I don't think about recipes in the back of my head. I think about buying all the good fruit and produce and vegetables that I can get my hands on and then how am I going to turn that into something during the week?
You don't necessarily plan your meals. You're not the mom that's
I don't plan meals.
Meatloaf on Wednesday.
Not at all.
Oh,
like, I just
goodness.
don't think like that. I get overexcited. And then it's a case of, because I have a bad habit of overbuying at farmer's market, but I also hate wasting food. Also, my husband is like, okay, if you buy too much this Sunday at farmer's market, you're going to have to cut back next Friday, which is like, I don't want to do. So I always have to incorporate everything in the fridge. I'm like, how am I going to combine
all
this
of these together? Yeah.
But it's fun. It's definitely, I've learned how to become a cook, or rather a home cook, just by having a family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's certainly beneficial that you did marry a restaurateur in this aspect.
Yes.
And I do feel like I don't know, you guys are just sort of like the quintessential couple. I mean, you've got... It's true. I love it. I mean, that is honestly why I obsess over your Instagram, which makes me sound so creepy, but I'm sure that you all do too, so it's fine. But no, it's true. I love the idea of sort of like the business of food being married with like a love of food, a mutual love of food.
You have to. I think any successful business you have to be passionate about.
For sure.
It helps that food is one of our passions.
Yeah.
We love food and wine and cocktails, and that is why Matt's been very successful, having bars, restaurants, and nightclubs. Sure. It's why I fell into the business that I was a PR doing PR for Gramercy Park Hotel in New York, 1,000 years ago for Marquee. I love the idea of entertaining, of celebrating over food and drink.
It's a lifestyle that you're selling.
And it's, and it's something that we love doing. You can't fake it.
Yeah.
So, and it also, like, work is hard enough, so at least do something
has
that
to be
you
enjoyable.
like.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find that your kids are sort of falling into that foodie circle now?
It's
are they
so
like,
funny.
Mom, I plan on cooking tonight, so it's
Do you know what they love? I'm very, like, I don't want to say, I'm a hands-on mom, but it's our children are our life. They're our family. Yeah. When I'm cooking dinner, they are helping. Yeah. And children always want to do what their mommy and daddy is doing, right?
Sure.
So if my boys, they want to put on my lipstick, fine. Yeah. And they also want to be mixing in the kitchen with me. And actually our eldest, Max, he's 5. He's such an entertainer too. Like if you walk into our front door, he's always like, "Let me take your coat. Do you want something to drink?" He does. He's like the perfect host.
I love that.
Which is very, very sweet.
Someone is going to be very lucky.
Yeah. Although he still does it because we're new in LA. We've only been here a month, so he still says, like, "Would you like a glass of water?" So he says it with a British accent, which is so cute.
Charming.
It's so charming.
I'm like already in love.
Yeah.
That's great. Talk to me a little bit about this season. I know the season finale is, I keep saying, wanting to say premiere, but it is
finale. It's tonight
at
8 o'clock.
Tonight at 8, on Bravo. Talk to me a little bit about this season and maybe the learning points that you took away from it.
This was, I think it was an emotional season. I think probably everyone, all the viewers, cried along, certainly with me, but certainly with Julie Montague, with her daughter sort of leaving, with Caroline Fleming, with sort of, unfortunately, her father was ill. Yeah. It's been a very emotional, Sophie going through a separation, telling her children tonight. It's just a very emotional season. We also have a lot of drama because obviously when you are going through emotional times in your life, that will impact your friendships. Yeah. And some people are more supportive of you and some people are less. Yeah. And that...
Some people don't know how to handle that.
Some people don't know how to... Exactly. Yeah. And like, there are friends who show up and they become better friends. And there are friends who...
create a distance.
And sometimes kick you when you're down, in my case. And I'm like, cut, for lack of a better word. Yeah. And that all happens this season. It is like life milestones, and bizarrely, we were all experiencing some of these life milestones within the 3 months that we ended up filming. I mean, personally, I had by far the toughest, challenging, emotionally draining, physically challenging time in my life while during the 3 months that we were filming. Yeah. So you see all that, and there are ups and downs. As far as takeaways or things I learned, it's, for me, and probably the rest of the girls too, although I don't want to speak for them, you get through the tough times. You can, and there were times this season that I was on the floor. I was depressed. I had postnatal depression. I was physically, I was in ICU for a couple of days after a couple of different fairly traumatic surgeries after delivering Sadie. Those were some of the lowest times in my life, and now fast forward 7, 8 months later, it's a distant memory. I feel great. Like, I feel like I'm glowing. I feel like I have my
You are glowing, by the way. I literally said that to her before we started this interview.
But it's, it just proves that you can get through some really tough times. Yeah. And that's important to remember. And my husband has said this to me before when I was having some tough times and thinking, I'm not going to be able to get through this day. Yeah. Matt was like, the sun will still rise tomorrow morning. Your boys and your kids will still be here. They will need their bottoms wiped. I will always be your husband. Yes. Life goes on, and you will get through this. And we have, and we do. And
it's funny how sometimes when you are going through something, the simplest advice is usually the best. Like sometimes I think you're hoping that someone will say something maybe poetic to you or something like that, but like just saying like, yes, you will get through this. You will get through it. Enough. Sometimes.
And you will. And you're like, I think what I also learned is I felt, and I feel like a lot of moms do, even though this was my 3rd pregnancy, I felt very alone. And postnatal depression is you feel alone. Yeah. And what I've learned is I'm not alone. And after showing some very private moments of my life on global television, I have been getting messages from fans.
I was going to ask about that.
Who are so supportive and also saying, I think I also have postnatal depression. I'm going to get treatment now. Or you're not alone. I felt like I was alone. And so thank you for sharing your story. And it's like we aren't alone. And even on those moments that you think I'm the only one who's going through this, I'm not good enough. I'm not a good enough mom. I can't do this. You can. You're not alone. Like this is a part of life. And everyone's doing this.
Yeah. I think conversations like that are so important because especially with women, when it involves anything maternal, I feel like there's almost like a sort of shame of talking about it. So women are very sheltered and closed in when it comes to addressing it. So I think starting that dialogue is so important.
Yeah, and it just makes it more normal, which it is normal. It's just people don't talk about it. Yeah,
I think that women have a tendency to like feel like we have to be superwomen. So like
we do. And my Instagram doesn't help, by the way, and neither does anyone else's. Like it's like, by the way, I don't show you the Instagram of my children crying, them screaming, them throwing their cereal bowls on the floor in the morning, my son
it's not all like hearts being the most roses.
Charming. Exactly. Don't believe the bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's tough.
Some is the nice part. Of course it's amazing, but it's, and what we see, and I do it too, I compare myself to mothers, even though I shouldn't, and I write blog posts about not feeling guilt, but like, I do it. It's innate. And it's
unfortunately,
just sorry, exactly. The judgment and all of the comparing, that's what we do. Yeah. But we just have to think that second more. And I remind myself too, like, she's not showing me this like uber mom of 6 children who looks beautiful and glossy of the tough moments because frankly, I don't want to see that.
No, it's true.
I'm not going to like that photo.
It's so funny that you said that. No, I literally was talking to my friend about that the other day with like just the way that Instagram works. It encourages you, I don't want to say it encourages you to lie. It doesn't, but it encourages you literally to only show your highlight reel because no one is really interested in like just the terrible things that are happening to you. And like those aren't going to get likes. They don't come. Those photos aren't pretty.
I know.
And like I will say that like even sometimes when I'm like scrolling through my feed, if I do see someone have an honest moment, I will like double tap it because I feel compelled to. But at the same time, it's like, why did you put this on Instagram though? Like this is depressing. Like I'm on here to lift my spirits.
I know.
It's so sad though that you think like that, but it's a real thing.
I know.
I know. It's crazy. Moving on. Let's talk
social commentary.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your book, An American Girl in London. Yeah. Talk to me about the process of creating this book. I do feel like you touched on it a little bit earlier, but just maybe just honing in on the recipes that you decided to choose, and are you sharing like stories along with this? Okay, let's talk a little bit about that.
This book sort of saved me during my pregnancy. Okay. I was diagnosed with this life-threatening condition, placenta accreta, about the same time that I got the book deal. Okay. And for me, writing this book was an escape from the real-life drama that Matt and I and our family were going through. Right. Having deadlines, having something else totally to focus on was the respite and the escape that I needed. Because of this total placenta previa placenta accreta that I had, I was often on bed rest, if not house arrest. Okay. So I wasn't supposed to be, jumping around town, running around the park with the boys, doing all of that stuff. As a result, I was pretty much housebound a lot of the time. Okay. And that gave me an opportunity to to cook a lot. You know, at the end of the day, I love cooking for my family. I don't do it every night because I'm running around. Who has time? Let's be honest. I mean, sometimes we get takeout. Sometimes Matt cooks. You know, I'm not super mom who cooks every single night. But
you shouldn't have to be.
And
by the way,
you shouldn't.
No one should have to be. You can be a super mom without cooking every night.
Exactly. Like it's not realistic. I mean, in my mind. That said, when I was on house arrest, I was cooking a lot because I couldn't go anywhere else. It was something. So you're like,
I might as well get
It was something to do. Combined with, because of this pregnancy, I was often told that I wasn't going to be able to keep the baby, and also because I was on bed rest a lot or house arrest, I wasn't running around with the boys in the park or taking them to activities. So I felt this innate urge to be maternal and nourish my family in a way that, because I felt like I was failing sometimes, being the mom that I usually am.
Right.
And I was able to sort of transcend those feelings into feeding my family and nourishing them with food. And also, you know, my husband, you know, like I wasn't the wife that I usually was to him. So I was like, my mom once told me the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Okay, taking my notes.
Tried and true rule that never
goes out of style. I'm like, this is going to work. Like, you know, I'm not able to razzle dazzle Matt on the dance floor, but I'm going to make him a mean curry.
Yeah.
And I did.
Equally as good.
And you know what? He's okay. He's like, I like this.
He's like, I'm enjoying this.
So bad. So, the kids are happy and well fed, and my husband's happy and well fed, and the book is, you know, I wrote this book. Writing a book is a full-time job, and I wasn't doing it like that. I was writing it on my iPhone while I was nursing Sadie. I was writing it sort of in sleepless nights with Sadie. I was doing it while I was in and out of the hospital. So seeing it all come together, I just got my first copy, which I actually gave to Andy Cohen last night, so sorry I don't have it with me.
It's okay.
It's sort of unbelievable to see things that you've, like, and ideas you've put on post-it notes, or, like, recipes that you sort of cobbled together from here, and I'm like, oh, I loved that, you know, porridge that my dad used to make growing up, or, oh my goodness, I love mushy peas, but, you know, I like to make it with feta and cement, or, oh, my mother-in-law's Welsh cakes, which my husband grew up on, like, oh, I'm gonna, so seeing this thing come together from, like, post-it notes and index cards into a book is, like, is crazy. I still look at it, I'm like, who did this?
Well, especially just considering that you were saying that. Is there a question? Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of people are excited about the book. Are you doing a book tour? If so, where can people come and see you?
I will be doing a book tour. I'll be doing a book tour. I'll be coming back to New York.
Okay.
The book launches April 4th.
Okay.
But you can pre-order now on, I think, Amazon and Barnes & Noble and
also
ebooks
on her
and
website.
Also on my website. And
which you should totally go to.
If you pre-order, actually, you can. For Valentine's Day, by the way, you can order it for your loved one, and it doesn't come out. So there's a little card you can download from my website that you can fill in, like, dear so-and-so, so-and-so really loves you this Valentine's Day, and you're going to be the first one to receive the book, and there's hearts and pretty flowers and da-da-da. So it's your Valentine's Day card.
E-card.
Sorted. Exactly. So if you haven't thought about your Valentine's Day yet,
get the
present. That's all you need. Forget, like, flowers and chocolates. Who wants it?
Yes.
Because a cookbook you can open up again and again.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
And then you can also make the recipes in the book. So it's just,
it's like,
it's kind of the ultimate.
It's a no-brainer. But I'll be doing a book tour. I'll be going, well, obviously coming back to New York, I think New Jersey, Long Island, I'm trying to think, DC, Boston, Florida, places in the West Coast. So,
When is that book tour starting?
Do you know what? We're confirming dates now, so it'll be in April, May.
Okay, amazing. Which is, again, what she said was the book drops in April, but you can pre-order it now, and it's called An American Girl in London. I'm curious, what's next for you? I mean, we're wrapping up season 3.
I don't know.
You've got a cookbook.
Do you know, I don't even know where we're going to live. I mean, right now we're in LA.
Okay.
We are looking at opening new restaurants in LA.
Exciting.
I thought my husband was going to retire for a little bit. He's sold a lot of his businesses in London. He lasted like 2 weeks, and he's like,
okay, it's time.
What's going on? I'm getting excited. Like, I'm like, all right, get out there, do something. So he's looking at new opportunities in LA and across America, actually. And I don't know, we've kept our house in London. We'll probably do the school year in LA. I'm trying to get the boys into school now, which is like terribly difficult in the West Side in LA, but fingers crossed.
It'll work out.
It'll work out. And in the meantime, we'll probably do summers in London and Europe, but we don't know. Sort of, it's a very unformed time in our life, and we'll see what happens.
How has that transition been, going from London, coming back to the U.S. for your children? Okay.
I mean, the kids love it, and actually that's the most important part. And my husband's happy. So even though, I mean, what you see on the show is real, it was not my decision to come back. And even though, I mean, my parents, like Matt is the prodigal son-in-law, so actually taking his daughter and their daughter and grandchildren home. it wasn't I was like living my European and London fantasy.
You're like, I'm just fine.
I was like, it's okay. I go to California in the summer.
Yeah.
My parents come up, but like, I don't know. London for me is such a romantic city. It's where I fell in love with my husband. It's where I gave birth to our children.
Yeah.
I built our house there. We built businesses there.
Yeah.
So for me, moving back to home was like, I was like, oh, that's all right.
It's also kind of like leaving your home too.
It's
weird.
It's a
you have
very
that, like,
weird time because I am from Newport Beach. I'm from Southern California, but I've been in London so long. It's a bit of a culture shock, but
for sure.
It's blue skies. It's not the end of the world. It's not a bad place to be, and
it could be worse.
It could be worse.
Another question? Oh, we've got to wrap up.
Oh no, that was so fun.
I know, it was so fast too. Okay, I have to ask you a New York versus LA question.
Yeah.
Of course. Since you're such a foodie, do you have sort of like a place in New York, a restaurant or something that you absolutely have to have when you come here?
That I always go to? God, I love my little like dive sushi spots.
Okay.
Those
always seem to be the best. Like the like hole in the walls.
Yeah, like I really like. What else do I love? I like the what is it? The Polo or the Ralph Lauren Polo Bar. I like the burgers
I actually
there.
love that place.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
that's
they actually
really
have
good.
Really great tacos.
I like the Caprice that I always go to. I don't even know if it's still open. What's La Esquina? I like growing. You know La Esquina, the Mexican place on Lafayette?
Oh, no. I'm so skeptical about eating Mexican in New York because I'm from Texas. God. So I'm like, it's hard to find like the good stuff
This is the place you'd have like pictures of margaritas.
Oh, my
I don't
goodness.
even remember coming out of that place most times. Yeah, I always go to La Esquina, so that's fun.
Nice. Well, thank you, Marissa. This was so much fun.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. And make sure that you guys buy her book, An American Girl in London, and catch the season premiere of Ladies in London tonight on Bravo at 8.